Audio issues be darned, we're going to take a look at this forecast. Welcome to the Digital Weather Desk, powered by Century Next Bank. I'm Jared Floyd. That audio snafu was not my problem. Well, I mean, it was my problem, but it wasn't my fault, if that makes sense. We've been running on a degraded internet signal through the course of the day. Our normally very reliable internet, they had an outage at some point, and so we haven't lost connection by any stretch, but we've been running a little more sluggish than normal. And that has played some fits on some of the streaming software and things of that nature as we've gone through the day. I think we cured that, though. I can see my audio levels now. And let's jump in the forecast. And as I mentioned earlier, and nobody heard me, I won't spend too much time on the forecast because not a lot's changed from the article that a lot of folks read earlier today. That was rather extensive. The midday forecast and things of that nature, there's not a lot changed in the general thinking of the forecast, but we're going to break it all down anyway. Look at the visible satellite shows that what cloud cover we have seen today is already on its way out. Radar products made possible by Brown's Roofing, brownsroofingla.com, shows no rainfall, at least in our immediate area. That will likely change as we go into the day tomorrow. Check the severe weather threat for tomorrow. Slight risk level 2 out of 5 severe weather categories for the vast majority of our coverage area and through the ArkLaMiss region. If you're not under that slight risk level 2, you're under the slight risk or the marginal risk level 1 out of 5 severe categories. So again, while the threat levels could, in theory, be higher, this is an organized storm threat that will move through the region as we go through the day tomorrow. Same graphic, just a little bit bigger, just in case you wanted to kind of take a closer look at some of those threat areas. I wouldn't get too bent out of shape about if you're in the yellow or if you're in the green. You're going to be under a severe threat nonetheless as we go through the day tomorrow. Check of Futurecast, kind of timing things out. I have tweaked things just a smidge in terms of the forecast arrival times for some of these storms as we get into the next couple of days, or in the next 24 hours. Futurecast shows cloud cover greeting us as you start the day tomorrow, and then the storms start moving in from the west by late afternoon, early evening. I think probably more early evening for much of the area. Scattered storms to start, and then eventually a lot of these storms will grow into either clusters or a complex of storms or line segments that will move east through the region as we go through the evening and nighttime hours by 8 p.m., 9 p.m., moving through the central sections of the ArkLaMiss and then through the Mississippi Valley by around midnight or so. So again, that's the general thought process in terms of time. And here's a look at the possible arrival times. And as I mentioned earlier, when I posted this in terms of a web article, first off, this is a little different than where I had it earlier. I've bumped those arrival times up by 1 hour. But it's important to remember this is just talking about arrival times. That does not mean the storms are going to be completely cleared out of the areas in green by 8 p.m. It's a possibility they could be gone by then. They also may not arrive until then. So, again, trying to give ourselves some padding in terms of when to expect the storms. And there's still an outlying chance that some of these areas see storms ahead of the 4 or 6 or 8 p.m. time frame. These are just our general estimates, and you have to kind of paint these types of graphics with a broad brush. So again, storms could arrive mid to late afternoon, or I guess late afternoon, early evening across the areas in green, the northwestern third of the coverage area, and then you start talking about the central sections by around as early as 6 p.m., maybe as late as 10 p.m., probably somewhere in between. And then for the Mississippi River Valley, it'll be probably 8 p.m., probably even later than that, closer to maybe 10 or 11 before the storms start arriving in your area. Of course, again, when you're building a graphic like this, and not every parish and county is just perfectly lined up, so you kind of pick and choose. But for instance, LaSalle Parish, you guys may get a storm at 6 o'clock instead of 8 p.m., so just kind of keep that in mind. I'm trying to break things down as best as possible, but weather forecasting is not a perfect science by any stretch of the imagination. Futurecast rainfall shows, again, the potential for storm-driven rains to bring some 1 to 2 inch rain totals, maybe even higher than that. But if you miss out on the storms, then there's a good chance that the rain totals are much lower than that and kind of fall short as we go through the day tomorrow. Flash flood risk is now expanded out. The excessive rain outlook is what we call it, but it is expanded out to include the vast majority of the ArkLaMiss region as we go into the day tomorrow. So main concerns for severe weather potential tomorrow: winds and isolated tornadoes. Hail's not really much of a threat tomorrow, and if we do see hail, it'll probably be pretty small. Heavy rain possibilities as well could lead to some localized street flooding. Again, we've talked about how compacted the soils are because of how dry it is. And again, damaging winds probably our biggest concern with any organized storms tomorrow. That overall thought process has not changed much. As you head out to the high school games tonight, and as we mentioned in the football forecast earlier, we got some great games tonight. We've got Ouachita and West Monroe, which is always a big one. So is Neville and Ruston. So if you're heading out to those games, it is warm to start, but temperatures should fall relatively quickly as the sun starts to set this evening. Again, pretty quick look at the forecast because not much has changed since where I left you midday, and we'll obviously provide updates throughout the day tomorrow as well. Overnight lows tonight, mid-60s under a few clouds. Daytime highs tomorrow near 90, but then falling dramatically behind the front, and many of us will probably be in the 70s for Sunday afternoon. The severe threat obviously is our focus tomorrow, and then the storms will exit early Sunday and cooler, drier air in its wake. We'll keep an eye on that Tuesday cold front, which will probably help hit the reset button on temperatures again for the second half of next week. So next week looks actually very, very nice. Morning lows will generally fall into the 50s. Some areas could see the 40s. And again, smooth sailing once we really get beyond the front tomorrow and into early Sunday. A reminder, the Digital Weather Desk, powered by Century Next Bank, is a digital weather platform serving 33 parishes and counties across northern Louisiana, southern Arkansas, and western Mississippi. It is made possible by the local businesses that you see there on your screen. I pushed the wrong button. And they are also, including James Spivey, bankruptcy attorney, possible for the app that is now available on Apple, in Apple stores, Apple users, Apple places. You folks can download the app now. Search Digital Weather Desk. You may have to scroll a little bit, but you'll see our icon there and our logo, and you can download it there. So yeah, give it a shot. Download it, kind of give it a test drive, and learn how to customize your alerts and stuff like that. Android users such as myself, we're going to have to wait a little bit longer. So as I mentioned in the Too Long Didn't Read earlier, just go find you a friend with an iPhone. They can't be far. And if you're like me and my family, my wife's the iPhone user and I'm the Android person. So Fish and Game forecast comes out in about 2.5 hours or so. I will join you through the day tomorrow. We won't do an early morning live stream since it's Saturday, but I'll be around. You're going to get plenty of information from me tomorrow. So yeah, that's that. Download the app. You can always visit digitalweatherdesk.com for the latest information. And again, those forecasts that you see on digitalweatherdesk.com and on your app tied exactly to what you see on the 7-day forecast here. The numbers are always going to be different. The rain chances, the temperatures are all going to be different because it's tied to your specific location. We'll join you tomorrow morning and keep you updated through the day, of course. Thanks so much for stopping by the Digital Weather Desk, powered by Century Next Bank. As always, I'm so glad you're here.